Episode 144 of the State of the Old Republic podcast was originally recorded on May 17th, 2026. It's the State of the Old Republic podcast. Today on the show, we're looking ahead to Legacy Reborn. It's the biggest story beat SWTOR has delivered in years, and I'll tell you about Khar Shian and some cool gameplay changes you'll get to experience along the way. I'll also break down 7/9's feature set, PvP Season 10 with its night theme, and a change to the companion window that's small, but with a surprisingly big impact. And finally, I'll tell you about the upcoming Twitch campaign, the latest Cartel Market editions, and more. And with that, it's time to make the jump to Lightspeed.
And cue the moron.
Welcome to episode 144 of the State of the Old Republic podcast. I'm your host, Ted, and as you heard in the opening, I have another great show lined up for you today. Remember that moment in Jurassic Park when the Jeep gets stuck in the tree? The characters climb down branch by branch, thinking they've escaped, only for the Jeep to fall through the branches and land right back on top of them. Little Timmy sighs and says, well, we're back in the car again. That's Legacy of the Sith in a nutshell. We're back with the holocron, we're back with Darth Nul's machine, and we're back in the car again, heading to Khar Shian for the finale of Legacy of the Sith. There's something poetic about ending Legacy of the Sith on a world that feels ancient, remote, and quietly dangerous. Not because the story is suddenly about ancient Sith, but because SWTOR has always known how to use the past as a backdrop, a stage built of old stones and older secrets, even when the drama unfolding on it belongs entirely to the present. And that's the role Khar Shian is ready to play. In Legends, Khar Shian is the lone moon of Cardelba, an icy cratered sphere located in the Sith world's sector of the Outer Rim territories. There it lies in perpetual darkness, virtually hidden, a seemingly uninviting, inconsequential, and innocuous ball of rock and ice. And, as it turns out, the perfect place for a master of illusion to lay one of the most impressive traps in galactic history. You see, Khar Shian is where the great Sith Lord Naga Sadow built one of his mighty fortresses. It's where he kept his army and massive fleet. It was at a time when the Sith Empire was fighting over who would lead it. It was Naga Sadow versus Ludo Kresh. Kresh took the offensive and headed to the Outer Rim to invade Naga Sadow's fortress, which he thought was on Cardelba. But Sadow's citadel on Cardelba was just a facade, a stage set, a trap. He used Cardelba as his decoy fortress, knowing Kresh would strike first. And he was right. Kresh launched his attack, bombarding the citadel on Cardelba, believing he had cornered his rival, but Sadow's real power, his fleet, his weapons, his alchemical devices, were hidden on the dark side of Khar Shian. When Kresh committed his forces, Sadow swung out from behind the moon and crushed him. It was a masterclass in misdirection. And once Kresh was defeated, Sadow turned his attention outward. He set his sights on the greater galaxy and launched the conflict that would become known as the Great Hyperspace War. Khar Shian wasn't just a hiding place, it was the springboard for one of the most consequential wars in ancient galactic history. But here's the important thing for us heading into 7/9. Legacy Reborn is not a sequel to Tales of the Jedi. This isn't a story about Naga Sadow. His fortress isn't the protagonist, it's the setting, the playground, the stage, the place where other people's ambitions are about to collide. We began this arc in 7-0 with one Sith stronghold on Elam, and now we're ending it with another. The symmetry is intentional, but the story belongs to the characters standing inside those walls, not the ghosts who built them. And yet, the echoes are hard to ignore. In Legends, Khar Shian was part of a ruse, a moon that appeared harmless, lifeless, unimportant, until it wasn't. Until the moment the illusion dropped and the truth came roaring out of the shadows. and I can't help but wonder if that's a little bit of foreshadowing for Legacy Reborn. We know Hedda Cole and the Hidden Chain have reconstructed Darth Nul's machine there. We know Jadis has stolen Nul's holocron. We know Malgus and Shae Vizsla are both heading to the moon, each with their own unfinished business. And of course, we're headed there with our own alliance. But we don't know what any of those things really are. We don't know what Nul's machine actually does. We don't know what secrets her holocron contains, and we don't know whether the things we think we understand are the truth or just the decoy fortress on Cardelba, waiting for the real revelation to emerge from the dark side of the moon. Now, visually from the teaser video the developers have shared, Khar Shian looks like a place built for that kind of reveal. The terrain is harsh and cold, jagged rocks, deep ravines, ice-slicked paths, and the sense that this moon has been shaped more by time and violence than by weather. But above all that, there's this incredible aurora stretching across the sky. Bands of green and blue light, giving the whole landscape an eerie, almost sacred glow. It's beautiful in a way that feels accidental, like the galaxy forgot to make this place unwelcoming. The architecture we've seen matches that mood: angular stone, ancient metal, glowing crystals embedded in the walls, and symbols that look like they've been waiting centuries for someone to read them. It's unmistakably Sith, but not in the theatrical Imperial era way. This is older, more reminiscent of the tombs on Korriban, a reminder that the Sith once built things to last longer than their own empires. For players, Khar Shian isn't about revisiting the past, and I don't know if Malgus versus Jadis carries the same weight as Sadao versus Kresh, but for the finale of Legacy of the Sith, Khar Shian is a setting that feels worthy of the moment, a place that carries the weight of history without demanding that story be about that history, a place where the past is present but not in charge. And that's what makes this so compelling. We haven't set foot on Khar Shian yet, we don't know what we'll find in those halls or what shape the final confrontation will take, but we do know that we're heading toward a world where the old stones remember things the galaxy has forgotten, and where the future of the galaxy and the people chasing it are about to write their own chapter on the dark side of the moon. Coming up, Legacy Reborn isn't just your run-of-the-mill story. We're going to be doing a lot more than killing NPCs and collecting stuff to unlock cinematics. We'll be playing as other characters. When we talk about the finale of Legacy of the Sith, it's easy to focus on the setting, the icy moon, the aurora, the ancient fortress. But the other half of the story is mechanical. It's about how we're going to experience the finale, not just where it takes place. And for Legacy Reborn, the developers are doing something a little different. We already know who's converging on Khar Shian. It's a crowded stage. Malgus, Shae Vizsla, Hedda Cole, Darth Jadis, Lana Beniko, Theron Shan, An Peralin, Major Henri, and more. And of course, our own alliance is going to be there as well. It's the kind of cast list that usually means we'll be watching these characters from the outside, guiding them through dialogue wheels and cutscenes. But this time, that's not the whole picture. For the first time in a mainline SWTOR story, we'll be stepping into the boots of some of those characters. Lana Beniko is confirmed, Malgus has been teased, and the developers have hinted that others may join that list. It's a small shift, but an important one. It changes the way we inhabit the story. It changes the way we understand these characters, and it changes the way the finale will feel. Why does it matter? Because it's engaging, it's fun, and it's different. SWTOR has done this before, the HK-55 chapter, the sequences where you pilot a walker, the occasional turret section, but never with this many characters in a single story arc. It's a chance to see the galaxy through someone else's eyes, even if only for a few minutes. And it's a chance for the developers to play with perspective in a way that feels fresh. It also raises a few questions. Will these characters interact with others while we're controlling them? Will they have dialogue options? Or, as fellow content creator Intisar wondered, will they speak to our own characters? Will these moments feel like cameos, or will they feel like genuine narrative beats? We don't know yet, but the possibility is intriguing. I, for one, am looking forward to playing as Miss Spooky Eyes. Sure gives new meaning to the phrase.
Ready to commandeer, Commander?
There's also the matter of abilities. Each character will come with their own toolkit, their own rotation, their own combat rhythm. And that opens the door to speculation. Are these abilities previews of new combat styles? Are they hints at changes coming in 8.0? Or are they simply bespoke kits designed for this story alone? We've seen SWTOR experiment with this before, and we've also seen the challenge that comes with it. When you're suddenly handed a new set of abilities, you have to stop and read what each one does. You have to figure out how they fit together, and you have to do it all while dodging blaster fire. It can be chaotic, it can be messy, but it can also be one of the most memorable parts of a story chapter. And before we move on, I want to mention one more name, Talos Strelick. He hasn't been confirmed for Khar Shian. He wasn't even mentioned in the live stream, but he's been part of the Legacy of the Sith story, and he's a self-proclaimed Naga Sadow man. If there were ever a field trip tailor-made for Talos, this is it.
I met the ghost, and he needs me to get inside an ancient temple.
Then it's true. My peers in the service laughed when I said it was on Hoth, but now, yes, it's the only thing that makes sense. Your ghost said he was a follower of Ludo Kresh, and that Naga Sadow's assassins killed him. Sith, do you realize what you've done?
What have I done exactly?
This must be the greatest discovery since my mentor, Orsilio Gan, unearthed the wing of Naga Sadow's own fighter on Yavin 4. We're talking about the fabled Sadoween, Naga Sadow's personal order of assassins, myth made real.
Listen to that enthusiasm. And if he thinks that temple on Hoth and the wing of his starship was a big discovery, imagine him setting foot in Sadow's fortress on Khar Shian. It would be a shame if he didn't get to join us, even briefly, on the dark side of the moon. So, if you've been waiting for the game to try something a little out of the box, this is it. Although you may want to brush up on your keybind flexibility and prepare yourself for a few moments of what does this button do? And most of all, just be ready to experience the finale from a few new angles. Well, coming up, I'll do a quick breakdown of PvP Season 10 and some companion window changes that might leave you saying, wait, they're dead? I didn't even know they were sick. Stay tuned. When it comes to major updates, it's impossible to ignore the story, especially when it's the grand finale to one of the game's longest-running arcs. But as with every update, there's always more beneath the surface. With Game Update 7.9, two key changes rise to the top: the kickoff of PvP Season 10 and a subtle yet significant refresh to the companion window. Let's start with PvP. Season 10 is titled Honor in Battle, and it leans into a knightly theme. Not necessarily Jedi or Sith, but that broader mythic idea of the knights as disciplined, armored figures standing firm in the chaos. We haven't seen the armor sets yet, so I won't pretend to know exactly what they look like, but the theme suggests something with crests, plates, maybe even a little pageantry, perhaps something heavily influenced by the Gothic Master armor set. The season begins with the launch of 7.9 and will run for 16 weeks, giving players plenty of time to work through the reward track at a comfortable pace. Whether you're a regular in the queues or someone who dips in for the weeklies and the cosmetics, the structure remains familiar: medals, objectives, tokens, and that steady climb toward the capstone rewards. Now, while PvP gets the headline, there's another change arriving in 7.9 that's smaller on paper but bigger in practice, and that's the update to the companion window. For years, SWTOR has relied on the companion locator terminal to solve a very specific problem. How do you summon companions who are dead, missing, or otherwise unavailable in your story? It worked, but it always felt like a workaround, a little out of the way and disconnected from the rest of the UI. A terminal designed to locate things that itself was difficult to locate. In 7.9, that changes. The terminal's functionality is being folded directly into the companion window. That means if a companion is gone in your story, maybe they died, maybe they left, maybe they're off looking for a really huge ship,
I need my space.
you'll still be able to summon them for gameplay purposes without breaking the narrative. It's cleaner, it's more intuitive, and it brings the system in line with how most players actually use their companions day to day. And before we move on, there's one more small but welcome quality of life update. The Wreckage on Dantooine site is getting streamlined. Once you've completed the intro mission on your first character, you'll be able to skip it on alts. And the Orbital Core boss is no longer tied to the story. You can finish the story without having to defeat it. They're small changes, but they add up. A new PV season with a strong thematic identity, a companion system that finally behaves the way it probably should have all along, and a smoother on-ramp for Dantooine exploration. Steady improvements, a cleaner experience, and a reminder that even in a galaxy full of ancient machines and shadowy Sith Lords, sometimes the best updates are the ones that simply make the game feel better to play. May the 4th brought a bounty of rewards and plenty of ways to gear up. And while that celebration has come to a close, Game Update 7.9 is ready to keep the momentum going with even more exciting rewards heading your way. First, the next Twitch Drop campaign will launch alongside 7.9 and run for 28 days. The headline reward this time is the Nightshade Hissus mount, which you can earn by watching 4 hours of live SWTOR content on Twitch. It's a nice way to support SWTOR streamers out there and pick up a unique mount just by tuning in. Don't forget to connect your SWTOR account to your Twitch account. Next, we're getting a fresh wave of Cartel Market items. Highlights include a set of striking Naga Sadow themed swords, plus new weapons inspired by the Mandalorian and Grogu, and possibly more. Broadsword tends to slip in a surprise or two when a patch goes live. Then, on June 30th, the Nightlife event returns to Nar Shaddaa for a 6-week run. New rewards are on the way, and while we don't have the full list yet, the Nightlife event has a long history of delivering flashy cosmetics, mounts, and the occasional high roller prize. Whether you're there for the atmosphere or the jackpots, it's always a fun seasonal stop. And finally, the Master of the Fight Cargo Transport Bundle is available through June 9th. It's a premium bundle priced at $100, but it includes 6 months of subscription time, 5,500 cartel coins, a mini pet, and a set of toys and dies. It's great for collectors and for players who want to fully experience the game for a long period of time. All of this rolls out as we head into Game Update 7.9. One more item before I let you go today, a little peek into an alternate galaxy. PC Gamer sat down with James Olin, one of the original minds behind Star Wars The Old Republic, and in the middle of that conversation, he mentioned something that made a lot of SWTOR veterans sit up a little straighter. Before he left BioWare, Olin made a pitch for a full reboot of Star Wars The Old Republic. Not an expansion, not a tech pass, a new game called Star Wars The New Republic. According to PC Gamer, Olin spent 6 months around 2015 working on the idea. He had a design document, PowerPoints, a mock trailer from Blur, and buy-in from an EA exec, Kathleen Kennedy, who was president of Lucasfilm at the time, and Dave Filoni. The final word came from the EA board of directors, who killed the project. They said it was because of money, but we all know the real reason. You gotta have a good shorthand name. SWTOR is cool, SWTOR, not so much. So there you have it. Somewhere out there is a reboot of SWTOR that never got made, and that's probably a good thing. And speaking of good things, that's the state of the Old Republic for today. Let me cut in the sublight engines and cue the music and congratulate you on surviving another half hour, give or take, listening to episode 144 of the State of the Old Republic podcast. I'm your host, Ted, and I thank you for tuning in. You can find this podcast on Buzzsprout, in iTunes, and wherever else you find your podcasts. I'm also back to putting these on YouTube. You can listen to the show directly from the show's site, which is SWTORpodcast.com, and there is an RSS feed where you can subscribe to the podcast directly. If you have a question for the show, you can email me at SWTORpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy Legacy Reborn. And until next time, remember the Sith code, cake is a lie.